the ball lightning. In the quiet moments after a storm, when the air still hums with electricity and the earth exhales the scent of rain, there exists a phenomenon as elusive as a half-remembered dream. Glowing orbs drift through the atmosphere, sometimes no larger than a pebble, other times swelling to the size of a human head. They hover above fields, glide through windows, vanish with a whisper or a thunderous crack. This is ball lightning, a luminous mystery that has flickered at the edges of human understanding for centuries. To witness ball lightning is to glimpse a paradox, a fleeting defiance of physics, a dance of energy that refuses to conform. Science has long sought to explain it. The leading theory whispers of silicon. When lightning strikes soil rich in silica, the intense heat vaporizes minerals, sending charged particles skyward. These particles oxidize mid-air, burning slowly like embers carried on an invisible wind. The glowing sphere becomes a self-contained reactor, its surface crackling with filaments of plasma, its lifespan measured in seconds. Yet even this elegant hypothesis cannot account for every reported sighting. Those orbs that linger for minutes, pass through walls, or leave behind the faint scent of sulfur. Centuries of records weave through its story. Medieval sailors spoke of St. Elmo's fire, but ball lightning is stranger still. In 1753, physicist Georg Richmann died while studying a globe of blue fire in his laboratory, one of the first documented casualties of scientific curiosity. A 19th century Welsh farmhouse once hosted a glowing sphere that rolled down the stairs, circled the parlour, and dissolved into the floorboards. Even modern pilots, cocooned in technology, have radioed towers about silent, shimmering spheres pacing their aircraft. The boundary between myth and measurement blurs here. In 2012, Chinese researchers accidentally captured ball lightning on spectrometers during a thunderstorm. The data revealed traces of silicon, iron, and calcium, elements found in soil, as if the Earth itself had briefly taken flight. Yet another experiment recreated it in a lab by zapping silicon wafers with electricity, producing tiny transient orbs. But these controlled sparks lack the eerie sentience described by witnesses, the way the spheres navigate rooms, avoid obstacles, or vanish upon contact. There is poetry in its persistence. Ball lightning embodies humanity's duel with the unknown, a reminder that even in an age of satellites and quantum computers, nature reserves the right to astonish. Philosophers might ponder its metaphor. How often do our certainties dissolve upon closer inspection? How many radiant mysteries still drift, uncharted, through the margins of the world? As the narrative slows, consider the weight of all we cannot yet hold. Ball lightning is neither fully explained nor dismissed, existing in the liminal space between fact and wonder. It challenges the arrogance of assumed knowledge, inviting humility. Each flicker in the storm-darkened sky whispers that some truths are not static, but alive, evolving, retreating, glowing faintly as they wait to be seen anew. And so the phenomenon endures, a silent dialogue between earth and atmosphere, observer and enigma. It does not demand belief, only attention, a reminder that the universe's quietest wonders are often its most profound. In the end, ball lightning is less a puzzle to solve than a testament to the enduring beauty of questions without answers. The fairy circles of Namibia. In the vast, sun-baked plains of Namibia, where the desert breathes in waves of heat and the horizon stretches into eternity, the earth paints itself in patterns of haunting precision. Circular voids dot the landscape, bare patches of sand, perfectly round, fringed by halos of golden grass. These are the fairy circles, a mosaic of absence and abundance, a riddle written in the soil. To stand among them is to wander a gallery of nature's own art, where simplicity and mystery share the same frame. Science approaches the enigma with measured steps. The leading theory begins with water, that rare currency of life in the desert. Beneath the surface, grasses compete fiercely for moisture. Their roots secrete inhibitors, chemical whispers that stifle neighboring growth. In this silent battle, stronger plants monopolize resources, leaving weaker ones to perish. The result is a self-organizing pattern, circles of barren earth, each a monument to botanical rivalry, surrounded by rings of thriving grass. Over decades, these circles expand, contract, and vanish, as dynamic as living things. Yet another hypothesis hums with the energy of tiny architects. Certain termite species like Samotermes alocarus are found nesting beneath the circles. These insects may clear vegetation to create water traps, porous patches where rainfall seeps deep into the sand, stored like a subterranean reservoir. The termites feed on the roots, maintaining the barrenness, while the surrounding grasses drink from the edges of this hidden well. Here, two narratives coexist, one of conflict, one of symbiosis. Both speak to the ingenuity of life in extremes. History lends its voice to the chorus. Indigenous Himba people have long shared stories of the circles, footprints of gods, portals to ancestral realms. Early European settlers spun tales of dragons whose breath scorched the earth. In 2016, a similar phenomenon emerged in Australia's outback, deepening the mystery. Researchers flew drones over the red soil, mapping patterns nearly identical to Namibia's, though separated by an ocean. No termites were found there. Instead, the circles seemed born purely from plant competition, a fractal echo of nature's algorithms. There is a quiet harmony in this duality. Fairy circles mirror other patterns etched into the living world, the hexagonal scales of a tortoise shell, the spirals of a nautilus, the branching veins of a leaf. They remind us that order often emerges from chaos, that simplicity can arise from complexity. Philosophers might see here a dialogue between competition and cooperation, destruction and creation. Ecologists find a lesson in equilibrium. These circles are not static, but a slow dance of adjustment, a balance struck between life's hunger and the land's limits. As the narrative softens, consider the weight of such patterns. Fairy circles are both map and metaphor, a testament to how life sculpts its own boundaries. They challenge the notion of barrenness, revealing even in emptiness a hidden purpose. The desert, often dismissed as lifeless, hums with unseen negotiations, a network of roots and insects and molecules conspiring to persist. In the end, the circles remain open questions, their origins a tapestry of competing truths. They resist final explanation, inviting instead a deeper kind of knowing, one that embraces wonder as wisdom. To study them is not to dispel their magic, but to glimpse the quiet intelligence woven into the fabric of the world. Fairy circles are not puzzles to be solved, but poems to be pondered, a reminder that even in the harshest light, mystery casts the softest shadow. The Sailing Stones of Death Valley. In the heart of Death Valley, where the sun sculpts the earth into cracked mosaics and silence hangs heavy over the salt flats, there lies a mystery written in stone. Across the bleached expanse of the racetrack playa, trails etch the ground, sinuous, meandering, some stretching hundreds of feet. These are not the work of wind or water, but the footprints of boulders that wander without legs, sail without sails. They are the sailing stones, silent nomads that glide across the desert, leaving behind riddles in their wake. The secret to their motion is whispered in the interplay of ice and wind. Winter nights here sometimes bring a fleeting gift: rain. Water pools atop the playa, a shallow mirror reflecting the stars. As temperatures plunge, this liquid skin freezes into delicate sheets of ice. Come dawn, the sun softens the ice, fracturing it into vast floating panels. Light winds nudge these mosaics across the slick clay, and embedded within them, like jewels in a crown, are the stones. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the ice pushes the rocks, their keels carving trails into the mud below. By midday, the ice vanishes, leaving only the stones and their cryptic journeys behind. Science unraveled this enigma through patience. For decades, hypotheses swirled: dust devils, magnetic fields, pranksters. Then, in 2014, researchers embedded GPS trackers in stones and time-lapse cameras in the surrounding hills. They witnessed the dance firsthand: ice sheets thin as glass, sliding stones at speeds slower than a crawling child. Some rocks moved in unison, tracing parallel arcs. Others pivoted alone, scribing sharp curves. The largest, weighing over 700 pounds, travelled farther than a football field. The phenomenon, rare and ephemeral, required a precise alchemy of water, cold, and breeze, a recipe the desert serves only once in a blue moon. History adds layers to the tale. Indigenous Timbisha Shoshone stories speak of the playa as a living entity, though their ancestral wisdom about the stones remains unrecorded. Early 20th century settlers, baffled by the trails, spun myths of supernatural forces. Geologists began documenting the tracks in the 1940s, yet it took nearly 70 years for technology to capture the stones in motion. Even now, the playa guards its secrets. Why do some stones veer left while others spiral right? Why do many remain still for decades, then suddenly stir? There is poetry in their movement. The sailing stones mirror life's own rhythms, the way seemingly static existences can shift in unexpected bursts, guided by forces unseen. They evoke the slow drift of continents, the patient creep of glaciers, the turning of stars across millennia. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for human perseverance, how small, consistent pressures can move mountains, or how isolation, like that of the playa, can birth extraordinary change. Ecologists find a lesson in interdependence. Without ice, wind, and stone, the magic dissolves. As the narrative slows, consider the weight of time these stones carry. Their journeys unfold on a scale that defies human urgency, reminding us that not all motion is swift, nor all progress loud. The playa's trails, some decades old, are testaments to moments when elements conspired in just the right measure. They ask us to reconsider what it means to be alive in a world where even rocks can roam. The sailing stones of Death Valley do not dazzle with speed or spectacle. Their beauty lies in their quiet defiance, a proof that even in the stillest of places, movement waits patiently beneath the surface. They are a dialogue between persistence and ephemera, between the ancient earth and the fleeting touch of ice. To walk their trails is to trace the handwriting of nature itself, a script that speaks of mysteries solved and those that linger, forever inviting us to look closer, to wonder deeper. In the end, the stones are more than geologic curiosities. They are humble monuments to the unseen forces that shape our world, and to the patience required to witness them. Their trails, etched in mud and salt, remind us that even in emptiness there is motion. Even in silence there is story. The desert, it seems, is always listening, always ready to reveal another secret. The Taos hum. In the high desert of Taos, New Mexico, where the sky stretches endlessly and the air hums with the silence of ancient landscapes, there exists a sound that is not quite a sound. A low, persistent vibration, felt more than heard, like the distant idle of an unseen engine or the murmur of the earth itself. This is the Taos hum, a sonic enigma that has eluded explanation for decades, a whisper from the unknown that lingers just beyond the edge of understanding. To experience the hum is to stand at the threshold of perception, described as a rumbling, droning frequency, often around 30 to 80 hertz. It is heard by only a fraction of those who live in its reach. For some, it emerges at night, a steady pulse beneath the quiet. For others, it persists ceaselessly, an inescapable backdrop to daily life. Yet scientific instruments often register nothing unusual. The hum exists in the liminal space between the measurable and the felt, a phenomenon as much neurological as it is environmental. Efforts to trace its origins spiral into a labyrinth of possibilities. One theory suggests industrial sources, power lines, gas pipelines, or military communications, their low-frequency waves resonating across the plateau. Another points to geological activity, subterranean vibrations caused by shifting tectonic plates or volcanic magma deep beneath the Earth. In the 1990s, researchers from Los Alamos National Laboratory and the University of New Mexico swept the area with sensitive equipment. They detected faint electromagnetic waves, but none matched the hum's described frequency. The most compelling hypothesis ventures inward, proposing that the hum arises from a rare form of tinnitus, where the brain misinterprets neural signals as sound. Yet this too falters. Not all hearers suffer from hearing disorders, and some perceive the hum only in Taos itself. The phenomenon is not unique. Similar auditory mysteries haunt other corners of the world: the Bristol hum in England, the Windsor hum in Canada, the Kokomo hum in Indiana. Each shares traits: a low-frequency buzz, a localized range, a population of hearers amid a majority who sense nothing. In 2012, a study in Kokomo traced their hum to 2 industrial fans, yet silencing them only reduced complaints, never erased them entirely. The Taos hum resists even this closure. No single source has ever been confirmed, leaving the question suspended, like a note held in the air. There is a haunting beauty in such ambiguity. The hum invites reflection on the nature of perception itself. Why do some brains tune to this frequency, while others remain deaf to it? Is it a flaw in human biology, or a sensitivity to something beyond ordinary senses? Philosophers might recall Kant's noumenon, the idea that some realities exist beyond human comprehension. Psychologists ponder the nocebo effect, where expectation shapes experience, turning suggestion into sensation. The hum becomes a mirror, reflecting the complex interplay between mind and world. As the narrative softens, consider the weight of such a mystery. The hum is not merely a sound, but a story, one that unspools differently for each listener. For some, it is a curiosity. For others, a torment. It challenges the very notion of objectivity, asking what it means for a thing to be real if only some can perceive it. In Taos, where the desert light sharpens shadows into clarity, the hum remains a blur, a vibration at the edge of certainty. Perhaps the most profound truth lies in its persistence. In an age of satellites and sensors, the hum defies categorization, a reminder that not all phenomena surrender to quantification. It dwells in the interstices, between sound and silence, external and internal, explanation and wonder. To seek its source is not to solve it, but to sit with the questions it raises, about the limits of human knowledge, the elasticity of perception, and the quiet mysteries that still pulse, unnoticed, through the fabric of everyday life. The Taos hum endures as a gentle paradox. It is both a thread connecting hearers across the globe and an intimate, solitary experience. It does not announce itself with grandeur, but with insistence, a murmur that draws us closer to the invisible forces shaping our reality. In the end, the hum is less a problem to be solved than an invitation to listen deeply, not just with ears, but with the humility that some wonders are felt, not known. A quiet reminder that the world hums with mysteries, if only we tune ourselves to hear them. The bioluminescent bays. In the velvet embrace of night, where ocean meets shore, there exists a liquid galaxy. Waters shimmer with an ethereal blue, each ripple a comet's tail, each wave a swirl of constellations. These are bioluminescent bays, living tapestries woven by nature, where the sea itself becomes a mirror of the starry sky. To dip a hand into these waters is to stir a universe, as light clings to skin like liquid stardust, fleeting and radiant. The magic begins with creatures smaller than a grain of sand. Dinoflagellates, microscopic algae, drift in their millions, their bodies charged with a chemical poetry. When disturbed, they release luciferin, a compound that reacts with oxygen and the enzyme luciferase, sparking a cold blue light. This glow, known as bioluminescence, is not mere spectacle, but survival. For the dinoflagellates, it is a defense, a flash to startle predators, a beacon to attract larger creatures that might consume their foes. In the stillness of day, they rest, but under moonlight the bay becomes a theatre of light, every movement a cue for illumination. These bays are rare masterpieces, sculpted by precise conditions. Warm, shallow waters cradle the dinoflagellates. Mangroves fringe the shores, their roots leaching nutrients into the sea, feeding the algae. Narrow channels limit tidal exchange, allowing the organisms to multiply into dense, luminous colonies. Puerto Rico's Mosquito Bay, glowing with up to 700,000 dinoflagellates per gallon, is one of Earth's brightest. Vieques, luminous lagoon in Jamaica, and Halong Bay in Vietnam share this fragile alchemy. But balance is delicate. A shift in salinity, an influx of pollution, or the wake of a motorboat can dim the light, a reminder that nature's wonders often hang by a thread. History whispers through these waters. Indigenous Taino peoples believed the glow was the spirit of their ancestors, guiding fishermen through dark waves. Colonial sailors, unsettled by the radiant seas, penned tales of witchcraft in their logs. Even modern science once stumbled. Early researchers suspected electric minerals or radioactive sediments. Today, we know the truth is more marvelous. The light is life itself, a collaboration between organism and environment. There is poetry in this symbiosis. Bioluminescence is Earth's oldest language of light, spoken by fireflies, deep-sea creatures, and fungi long before humans kindled their first flame. In the bays, this ancient dialogue continues. Kayakers glide through inky water, paddles painting arcs of cerulean. Fish dart like fleeting meteors, their paths etched in light. The bays mirror the night sky not by reflection, but by replication, a reminder that the cosmos' beauty is echoed in the microcosm beneath the waves. As the narrative deepens, consider the transient nature of this glow. Bioluminescence is energy transformed, a momentary spark in the endless flow of time. Each flash is a breath, here, then gone. Scientists estimate that 90% of deep-sea creatures bioluminesce, yet in these shallow bays the phenomenon becomes intimate, accessible. They are portals to an alien world, revealing how life adapts to darkness, not by conquering it, but by becoming one with it. To witness a bioluminescent bay is to stand at the intersection of art and ecology. The light serves no single purpose. It is defense, communication, a byproduct of being alive. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for human creativity, the way beauty often arises unexpectedly as a side effect of survival. Ecologists find a lesson in interdependence. Remove the mangroves, disturb the water, and the light fades. The bays teach quiet reverence, a recognition that the most dazzling phenomena are often the most fragile. As the story slows, the mind lingers on the fragility of such radiance. In an age of artificial light, these bays remain sanctuaries of natural wonder. Their glow is a silent plea, a testament to what thrives when balance is preserved. They ask no admiration, only awareness, that to protect such places is to safeguard the planet's capacity for awe. The bioluminescent bays endure as living paradoxes. In their light, there is darkness, a dependence on the untouched night. In their stillness, there is motion, the pulse of countless tiny lives. They do not astonish with grandeur, but with intimacy, inviting us to see the extraordinary in the infinitesimal, a ripple, a spark, a breath of light. These are the verses of an ancient song, sung by the sea, heard by the heart. In the end, the bays are more than natural wonders. They are mirrors held up to human curiosity, reflecting our longing to understand, to feel connected to the enigmas of existence. As the stars above twin with the lights below, the world feels both vast and small, a reminder that magic persists where life is allowed to simply, quietly be. The Hessdalen Lights. In the secluded valleys of central Norway, where snow-capped peaks cradle long winter nights, the sky occasionally stages a silent spectacle. Orbs of light glide above the Hessdalen Valley, sometimes white as moonlight, other times flickering yellow or red. They hover, split apart, or dart across the horizon with purpose. These are the Hessdalen Lights, luminous enigmas that have defied explanation for over a century, a dance of radiance in the realm between Earth and atmosphere. Science approaches the mystery with measured curiosity. The valley's unique geology offers clues. Rich deposits of zinc, iron, and copper lie beneath the soil, while sulfur permeates the riverbanks. When groundwater reacts with these minerals, it generates a natural battery effect, hydrogen gas bubbling up through fissures. If ignited by static electricity or a spark, the gas could flare into brief, fiery orbs. Another theory whispers of ionized dust, charged particles from the valley's bedrock rising into the cold air, glowing like miniature auroras. Yet these explanations falter when faced with the light's reported behaviors, their intelligence-like movements, their endurance for hours, their silence. Since the 1980s, researchers have cast nets of data over the valley. Cameras, radar, and spectrometers now monitor the skies year-round. Project Hessdalen, a collaboration between scientists and enthusiasts, has catalogued thousands of incidents. Some lights emit electromagnetic pulses, others leave traces of scandium and sodium in the air. The most compelling hypothesis suggests plasma formations, balls of ionized gas stabilized by magnetic fields akin to miniature stars. But how such plasma could form spontaneously, without immense heat, remains an open question. Nature, it seems, reserves the right to improvise. History lends the lights a shadowed resonance. Local folklore once attributed them to the souls of lost travelers or mischievous spirits. During World War II, villagers mistook them for enemy signals. In 1981, the lights surged in frequency, sometimes appearing 20 times a week, drawing global attention. Yet unlike fleeting UFO sightings, Hessdalen's phenomena persist, documented, measured, yet still unresolved. They exist in a rare category, a mystery that welcomes scrutiny but resists solution. There is a quiet harmony in their duality. The lights echo other earthly phenomena, St. Elmo's fire, earthquake lights, the shimmering curtains of the aurora, yet stand apart. They evoke the universe's penchant for patterns, repeating its motifs across scales. Philosophers might ponder their metaphor. How often do our certainties dissolve when examined closely? How do we reconcile the measurable with the inexplicable? Psychologists note the human tendency to anthropomorphize, to see intention in the light's dance, a reflection of our own longing for connection in the unknown. As the narrative slows, consider the valley itself, a basin of contradictions. By day, it is a place of mundane beauty, pine forests, grazing sheep, a single river threading the land. By night, it transforms into a theatre of enigma. The lights do not announce themselves to every observer. Some wait years for a glimpse, others chance upon them in a moment of stillness. This elusiveness mirrors the nature of mystery itself. It reveals itself only to those who linger at the edges of understanding. The Hessdalen lights do not dazzle with grandeur, but with persistence. They are not anomalies to be solved, but questions to be lived. In a world increasingly mapped and measured, they remind us that some phenomena dwell in the interstice between knowledge and wonder. Scientists will continue to decode their chemistry, yet perhaps their deepest lesson is humility, an acknowledgement that the Earth still cradles secrets no instrument can fully dissect. In the end, the lights endure as a dialogue between the seen and unseen, the explained and the eternal. They are a testament to the beauty of unresolved wonder, a gentle hum in the background of human curiosity. As the stars wheel above Hessdalen and the valley holds its breath, the lights whisper a truth as old as inquiry itself. Some mysteries are not meant to be conquered, but cherished. a reminder that the world remains vast, luminous, and ever willing to surprise. The morning glory clouds. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world holds its breath between night and day, the skies over Australia's Gulf of Carpentaria perform a silent symphony. A colossal cloud unfurls like a scroll, stretching hundreds of miles across the horizon. Its smooth, tubular form glows with the first hints of sunlight, rolling endlessly forward, a wave frozen in mid-break. This is the morning glory cloud, a meteorological marvel as fleeting as it is majestic, a phenomenon that transforms the heavens into an ocean of motionless motion. The science behind this spectacle begins with the dance of air and sea. As the sun warms the Australian outback, air rises, pulling cooler, moisture-laden winds inland from the ocean. These opposing breezes collide along the Gulf's curved coastline, creating invisible ripples in the atmosphere. When humidity is just right, the rising air cools and condenses into a cloud, while the sinking air on the wave's trailing edge evaporates it. The result is a self-sustaining roll, a solitary cloud that rides the sky's invisible currents. Spanning up to 600 miles, it moves at 25 miles per hour, a solitary traveller in an otherwise empty expanse. What makes the morning glory extraordinary is its stability. Most clouds dissipate as winds shear them apart, but this formation thrives on conflict. The collision of sea breezes from the east and west pins the cloud in place, like a rope pulled taut. Its smooth cylindrical shape is sculpted by internal winds that circulate vertically, rotating the cloud along its axis. Scientists classify it as a roll cloud, a rare cousin of the more chaotic shelf cloud. Yet unlike its stormy relatives, the morning glory arrives in calm weather, a paradox of serene turbulence. The phenomenon is deeply rooted in place. Indigenous Garawa and Yanyuwa peoples have long observed these clouds, weaving them into seasonal calendars as markers of spring's arrival. European settlers first documented them in the early 20th century, baffled by clouds that moved against the wind. Today, the Gulf remains one of the few regions where the morning glory forms predictably, drawing meteorologists and glider pilots alike. These pilots harness the cloud's powerful updrafts, surfing its leading edge for hours, suspended between earth and sky. There is poetry in its predictability. The morning glory follows no schedule, yet it returns each September and October with the fidelity of migrating birds. Its formation mirrors patterns found elsewhere in nature, the sand dunes shaped by unyielding winds, the undulating schools of fish moving as one. Philosophers might see here a lesson in balance, how opposing forces, warm and cool, moist and dry, can birth harmony. Ecologists find a metaphor for resilience, a reminder that stability often arises from tension. As the narrative softens, consider the cloud's transient perfection. It exists only as long as the conditions that birthed it, a few hours at most. By midday, the sun's heat destabilizes the delicate balance, and the morning glory dissolves into wisps. Its ephemerality mirrors human experience, moments of beauty that linger just long enough to be witnessed, then vanish, leaving only memory in their wake. The morning glory does not astonish with rarity alone. It is a testament to the hidden order within chaos, a reminder that the atmosphere is not random, but a tapestry of interlocking processes. In a world where clouds symbolize impermanence, this one embodies a fleeting kind of permanence, a pattern that repeats but never quite the same. To witness it is to stand beneath a paradox, a cloud that is both journey and destination, movement and stillness. It asks no reverence, yet compels it, a silent teacher of the sky's quiet laws. As the first light gilds its curves, the morning glory becomes more than a weather event. It is a dialogue between elements, a slow aria sung by the wind. In the end, the cloud's true marvel lies not in its explanation, but in its existence, a reminder that the atmosphere, for all our satellites and models, still cradles mysteries that unfold on their own terms. The morning glory does not answer to human curiosity. It simply is, a fleeting brushstroke on the canvas of the sky. And in that simplicity, it offers a quiet truth. Some wonders need not be understood to be cherished. They need only be seen, a momentary glimpse of the world's steadfast habit of wonder. The red sprites and blue jets. In the velvety darkness above thunderstorms, where the Earth's breath meets the edge of space, a secret light show unfolds. Crimson tendrils unfurl like celestial ferns. Sapphire cones pierce the void, vanishing as swiftly as they appear. These are red sprites and blue jets, ephemeral dances of light that flicker far beyond the reach of ordinary lightning, where the atmosphere thins and the cosmos begins. Red sprites emerge from an invisible script written by the storms below. When a powerful lightning bolt strikes the ground, it leaves the cloud's upper layers positively charged. To restore balance, a colossal electrical discharge surges upward, not toward the Earth, but into the ionosphere, 50 miles above. This creates sprites, massive structures of red-orange light, often spanning 30 miles wide. Their glow comes from nitrogen molecules, excited by the electrical surge, releasing crimson photons into the thin air. Lasting mere milliseconds, they resemble flickering jellyfish, their tendrils reaching down toward the storm that birthed them. Blue jets follow a different choreography. Born near the storm's turbulent core, they are cones of indigo light that rocket upward at 60 miles per second. Unlike sprites, they require no lightning trigger. Instead, they erupt when charge imbalances between the cloud tops and the ionosphere become unbearable. As they ascend, they ionize a path through the stratosphere, their blue hue a product of ionized nitrogen and molecular oxygen. At their peak, they dissolve into the darkness, sometimes reaching heights of 30 miles, a bridge between weather and space. These phenomena dwell in the realm of the fleeting. Pilots and astronauts occasionally glimpse them, but their brevity and altitude made them myths until 1989, when a camera aboard a space shuttle captured the first sprite. Scientists later named them after Shakespeare's airy spirits, sprites, for their elusive grace. Blue jets, though known since the 1920s, were only verified in the 1990s. Even now they resist prediction, appearing only when storms rage with particular ferocity. The upper atmosphere, once thought placid, teems with such phantoms. Sprites and jets belong to a family of transient luminous events. Elves, halos, trolls, each a fleeting signature of the sky's hidden electricity. Some scientists theorize they influence the Earth's electrical circuit, subtly shaping the boundary where our planet meets the solar wind. Others see them as cosmic reminders. What we perceive as a thunderstorm is but the first act of a play that extends into the stars. There is poetry in their transience. Sprites and jets mirror the human condition, brief, radiant, and easily overlooked. They challenge our perception of storms as terrestrial events, revealing them instead as conversations between Earth and space. Philosophers might ponder the metaphor. How often do our own lives send unseen energies upward, creating beauty in realms beyond our sight? As the narrative slows, consider the scale of these phenomena. A single sprite releases enough energy to power a city, yet leaves no trace. Jets travel paths that human rockets cannot follow. They are reminders that the atmosphere is not a ceiling, but a membrane, a fragile sheath alive with forces we are only beginning to map. In the end, red sprites and blue jets are more than atmospheric curiosities. They are emissaries from a frontier that is neither fully land nor sky, a testament to the dynamism of our planet. They do not linger for admiration, nor do they heed human curiosity. Their beauty lies in their indifference, a reminder that wonder exists not for our sake, but simply because the universe is vast, strange, and ever willing to reveal another layer of its mystery. To witness them is to glimpse the invisible threads that stitch the earth to the cosmos. They are ephemeral, yet eternal, fleeting strokes of light that have danced above storms for eons, long before eyes existed to see them. And in that truth they offer a quiet lesson. The universe's most profound wonders often shine brightest where no one is watching. The Catatumbo lightning. In the serene nights of western Venezuela, where the Catatumbo River meets Lake Maracaibo, the heavens perform an eternal dance. For centuries, the sky here has ignited with silent, spectral flashes, a storm without thunder, a tempest without rain. This is the Catatumbo lightning, a celestial heartbeat that pulses up to 280 times an hour, nearly 300 nights a year, casting an ethereal glow over the water. A phenomenon so enduring, it has guided sailors, inspired myths, and whispered secrets of the atmosphere to those who pause to listen. The science of this eternal storm begins with the land itself. Lake Maracaibo, cradled by the Andes Mountains, acts as a basin for warm, moist winds sweeping in from the Caribbean. These collide with cool air descending from the peaks, creating turbulent convection. The lake's marshy shores exhale methane, a gas that rises to ionize the air, threading it with conductive pathways. As charged particles ascend, they forge electric bridges between cloud and earth, sparking silent lightning that illuminates the night. Unlike thunderstorms, there is little rain here, only light, a spectral ballet of energy seeking balance. This symphony of elements is choreographed by geography. The Andes form a natural barrier, trapping winds that churn in a continuous cycle. By day, the sun heats the lake's surface, evaporating water into the air. By night, the cooling mountains squeeze this moisture upward, where it condenses into towering cumulonimbus clouds. The result is a self-sustaining engine of electricity, a meteorological heirloom passed down through millennia. History and culture have long been entranced by this glow. Indigenous tribes like the Wari wove tales of ancestral spirits clashing in the skies. Spanish sailors, navigating the Caribbean's dark waters, dubbed it the Lighthouse of Maracaibo. In 1595, its light foiled a British invasion under Sir Francis Drake, revealing his ships to local defenders. Even Goethe, the German poet, immortalized it in verse, sensing its distant flicker from across the Atlantic. Modern science, too, has courted the phenomenon, once speculating uranium deposits as its source, now recognizing it as a dialogue between earth, wind, and gas. Yet this marvel is not invincible. In 2010, the lightning vanished for months, silenced by a historic drought. Its absence echoed like a missed heartbeat, a reminder of nature's fragility. Researchers trace the pause to El Niño's warming of the Caribbean, which disrupted the delicate dance of winds. When the rains returned, so did the lightning, reaffirming its dependence on equilibrium. Today, it is enshrined as a UNESCO treasure, a testament to the interplay of climate and wonder. There is a quiet metaphor here. The Catatumbo lightning mirrors life's own rhythms, persistence amid flux, light born from collision. Philosophers might see in its glow the human quest for understanding, how we seek patterns in chaos. Ecologists find a lesson in symbiosis. Remove one thread, the methane, the winds, the lake's warmth, and the tapestry unravels. Even its silence speaks volumes, for the storm's thunder is lost to distance, leaving only light to tell the tale. As the narrative slows, consider the scale of this eternal dance. Each bolt releases enough energy to power a city, yet it leaves no mark. The storm has flickered for millennia, indifferent to human eyes. It is a bridge between the ephemeral and the eternal, a reminder that some wonders predate witness. In the end, the Catatumbo lightning is more than a spectacle. It is a dialogue between land and sky, past and present, mystery and knowledge. It does not blaze for applause, but simply is, a luminous thread in the fabric of the natural world. To stand beneath its glow is to glimpse the universe's quiet insistence on wonder, a beacon that humbles as it illuminates. And in that light, we are reminded, the Earth's most profound stories are written not in stone, but in moments, fleeting, radiant, and alive. The hum of the ocean. In the quiet depths where sunlight fades to blue, beneath the crash of waves and the cries of gulls, the ocean holds a secret song. A low, resonant hum pulses through the water, a vibration older than humanity, deeper than the Mariana Trench, as constant as the tides. This is the voice of the sea itself, a primordial drone felt in the bones of whales, the roots of kelp forests, and the hulls of ships. A sound without beginning or end, woven into the fabric of the planet. The science of this hum begins with pressure, waves colliding, currents sliding over continental shelves, and the restless shifting of the seafloor generate infrasonic vibrations, frequencies too low for human ears to detect. These waves travel thousands of miles, guided by the ocean's SOFAR channel, a horizontal layer where sound moves at its slowest, trapped between warmer surface waters and colder depths. Here the hum amplifies, becoming a sonic highway for marine life and a fingerprint of the ocean's ceaseless motion. Yet the sea's song has many composers: icebergs carving in Antarctica, storms churning the Gulf Stream, even the collective movement of microscopic plankton all contribute to the chorus. In 1998, seismologists discovered a dominant 10 MHz tone, the B-flat of the abyss, resonating through global waters. Its source remains debated. Some attribute it to giant waves oscillating across entire ocean basins. Others, to the Earth's crust itself, vibrating like a bell struck by the sea's immense weight. History carries echoes of this hum. Ancient Polynesian navigators spoke of hearing islands over the horizon, their canoes attuned to subtle shifts in the ocean's murmur. Norse sagas describe sailors sensing distant storms through the timbers of their longships. Modern submarines detect the hum through hydrophones, using it to navigate the lightless deep. The sea has always spoken, but we are only beginning to decipher its language. There is poetry in its persistence. The hum predates the splitting of continents, a relic from when the Earth's oceans were young. It mirrors the vibrational songs of stars and the resonant frequencies of black holes, a reminder that the universe thrums with hidden music. Marine biologists note that coral larvae use the hum to find their way home, while blue whales weave it into their own songs, layers of meaning in a liquid symphony. The hum also bears witness to human impact. Shipping noise, oil drilling, and sonar have introduced discordant frequencies, masking the ocean's natural tones. Researchers now listen for shifts in the hum's patterns, a diagnostic tool for monitoring sea temperature, ice melt, and the pulse of climate change. In its vibrations, we find both a mirror and a warning. The ocean's voice alters as the planet warms, a baseline shifting in real time. As the narrative slows, consider the hum's duality. It is at once a mechanical byproduct and a living breath, the ocean's way of exhaling. Philosophers might hear in it the rhythm of time, the slow heartbeat of a planet in flux. Ecologists recognize a lifeline connecting the fates of creatures from krill to humpbacks. For the human ear, it remains just beyond perception, a reminder that much of the world's wonder exists outside our narrow sensory window. To dive into the hum is to surrender to scale. Its vibrations bind the globe, linking Arctic ice to tropical reefs in a single subsonic thread. It is indifferent to listeners, yet indispensable to life, a paradox as deep as the sea itself. The hum does not exist for us, but we exist within it, tiny witnesses to an ancient conversation between water and stone. In the end, the ocean's hum is more than sound. It is a memory of Earth's formation, a ledger of its changes, a lullaby for its creatures. To know it is to recognize that silence is an illusion, that beneath every wave, a universe of vibration thrums on, patient and eternal. The sea does not need our ears to speak. It simply continues its slow, resonant song, a hymn to the interconnectedness of all things and a testament to the music of existence itself. The blood falls in Antarctica. In the heart of Antarctica's McMurdo dry valleys, a landscape so desolate it mirrors the surface of Mars, a glacier bleeds. From the fractured tongue of Taylor Glacier, a waterfall the colour of rust cascades down ice-white cliffs, staining the snow with vivid crimson. This is Blood Falls, a paradox of life and time, a cascade of ancient secrets from a hidden world beneath the ice. The mystery begins 2 million years ago. A body of seawater, rich in iron and salt, was trapped beneath the glacier as it advanced, sealing its briny depths in darkness. Isolated from the sun and the atmosphere, this subglacial lake became a time capsule. Over millennia, the water grew denser, absorbing iron from the bedrock below. Today, the pressure of the overlying ice forces this brine through fissures, where it meets oxygen for the first time in eons. The iron oxidizes, rusting instantly upon contact with air, painting the ice in hues of blood red. What appears macabre is, in truth, a slow exhale of chemistry, a breath held for centuries. Yet the true marvel lies not in the falls' colour, but in what thrives within them. The brine is a relic, 3 times saltier than the ocean, devoid of light, yet teeming with microbial life. These extremophiles survive without photosynthesis, drawing energy from sulfates and iron in the water. They breathe iron instead of oxygen, a metabolic relic from Earth's primordial past. Discovered in 2017, this ecosystem offers a glimpse into how life might persist on icy moons like Europa or Enceladus, where sunlight never reaches. History lends the falls an air of myth. First noted in 1911 by Australian geologist Griffith Taylor, early explorers attributed the crimson flow to red algae. It took a century to unravel the truth. Scientists drilled into the glacier, avoiding direct contact to preserve its ancient ecosystem, and found a labyrinth of liquid channels beneath. The brine's journey to the surface spans 1.5 kilometers of ice, a slow pilgrimage from the subglacial lake to the open air. The falls challenge our understanding of life's boundaries. In their iron-rich veins, microbes have survived for millennia, adapting to cold, darkness, and salinity that would obliterate most organisms. They exist in a community sustained by chemical reactions, a silent rebuke to the notion that life requires light or warmth. Astrobiologists study these microbes as analogues for extraterrestrial life, while climatologists monitor the falls as a sentinel for glacial movement in a warming world. There is poetry in its persistence. Blood Falls is both a wound and a miracle, a reminder that even in Earth's most inhospitable corners, life finds a way. The brine's iron, forged in the planet's crust, now spills onto its surface, a bridge between geology and biology. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for resilience, how isolation and pressure can birth unexpected vitality. Ecologists find a lesson in interdependence, as inorganic elements sustain organic life in a closed, eternal loop. As the narrative slows, consider the weight of time these waters carry. Each droplet has travelled millennia to reach the light, bearing iron from an ancient sea. The falls are neither alive nor inert, but a dialogue between the living and the lifeless, a testament to the blurred lines between the two. Blood Falls does not dazzle with grandeur, but with quiet defiance. It is a crack in the armour of Antarctica's ice, a whisper from a hidden ocean. To witness it is to stand before a portal, to touch a world older than human history, yet alive in the present. The crimson flow reminds us that beauty often emerges from the unseen, the unexpected, the enduring. In the end, the falls are more than a geological oddity. They are a hymn to life's tenacity, a signal from the dark that even in the most silent and frozen places, the earth pulses with hidden vitality. A reminder that mystery is not always a void. Sometimes it is a current, flowing patiently beneath the ice, waiting to be seen. The eternal flame falls. In the dappled shadows of Chestnut Ridge Park, where sunlight filters through ancient hemlocks, a small waterfall whispers over mossy rocks. Behind its veil of mist, a flicker of orange dances, a flame, delicate yet defiant, burning where fire should not be. This is Eternal Flame Falls, a sanctuary where water and fire embrace, a paradox woven into the fabric of the forest. The flame's endurance begins deep within the earth. Beneath the falls, layers of shale, sedimentary rock forged 400 million years ago, hold pockets of natural gas. Methane, ethane, and propane seep upward through fractures in the stone, escaping into a small grotto behind the cascading water. The gases, lighter than air, pool in this sheltered niche. When ignited, they feed a flame that licks the air with quiet persistence. Though often kindled by human hands, the fuel itself is a gift from geologic time, a slow exhale of the planet's subterranean breath. The waterfall plays an unexpected role. Its steady flow shelters the flame from wind, while the cool humidity prevents the gas from dissipating too quickly. This balance of elements allows the fire to burn even as water cascades mere inches away. A collaboration between Earth's exhalations and the sky's tears. The shale, part of the vast Marcellus Formation, is rich in organic material. Over eons, heat and pressure transformed ancient marine plants and microbes into the hydrocarbons that now feed the flame. History and myth have long been drawn to this site. Indigenous peoples of the region, including the Seneca, revered such natural flames as sacred symbols, perhaps portals to the spirit world. Early settlers shared tales of a burning spring, attributing it to witchcraft or divine intervention. In the 20th century, geologists traced the gas to its shale origins, yet the falls retained their aura of mystery. Today, visitors often leave offerings of coins or flowers, a quiet testament to the site's enduring magnetism. The flame is both ephemeral and eternal. Though it occasionally sputters out, extinguished by storms or human accident, the gas never ceases. Each relighting rekindles a dialogue between deep time and the present moment. Scientists studying the seep have found microbes in the shale that may contribute to gas production, a hint that life itself participates in this geologic ballet. The falls mirror other earthly flames, volcanic vents, coal seam fires, yet their intimacy sets them apart. Here the sublime is not distant, but human-sized, a flicker one might cup in their hands. There is poetry in this union of opposites. Fire and water, ancient and instantaneous, destruction and sustenance, all converge in a single breath of flame. Philosophers might recall Heraclitus, who saw the world as an ever-living fire, or alchemists who sought unity in conflicting elements. Ecologists find a lesson in equilibrium. The falls remind us that nature's balance is not static, but a dynamic dance of give and take. As the narrative slows, consider the fragility of this phenomenon. The flame depends on a fragile chain of conditions. The shale's fractures, the gas's seepage, the waterfall's protection. Climate change, fracking, or even a shift in the stream's course could silence it. Yet for now, it persists, a testament to resilience, however precarious. Eternal Flame Falls does not astonish with scale, but with persistence. It is a humble oracle, speaking of time's layered mysteries and the quiet partnerships that sustain wonder. To stand before it is to witness a conversation spanning millions of years, a dialogue between rock and air, life and element, memory and moment. In the end, the flame is more than a curiosity. It is a mirror held to humanity's own yearning for the eternal. Our myths, our rituals, our ceaseless fascination with light in the darkness. The falls do not promise forever, but they offer a glimpse of it, a fragile, flickering testament to the fact that even in a transient world, some wonders endure. Not because they are invincible, but because they are renewed again and again by the same forces that first gave them life. The ice circles in frozen rivers. In the hushed stillness of a winter's morning, where rivers lace the land in silver, nature occasionally inscribes a perfect cipher onto the ice. A flawless circle, smooth and precise, spins lazily in the current, a disk of frost-edged geometry, adrift in a frozen world. These are ice circles, transient masterpieces carved by the invisible hand of water and cold, a riddle written in the language of physics and poetry. The birth of an ice circle begins with a whisper of movement. In slow-moving bends of rivers, where currents curl into gentle eddies, a fragment of ice breaks free. As water swirls beneath the surface, it rotates the ice, grinding its edges against the surrounding frozen sheet. Gradually, friction sculpts the fragment into a circle, the most efficient shape for minimizing resistance. Sunlight amplifies the process, melting the ice unevenly, while the perpetual rotation polishes the disk into a mirror of the sky above. Over days or weeks, the circle grows, some spanning over 50 feet, turning like a celestial gear in a clockwork only the river understands. These formations are both fragile and resilient. Their existence hinges on a precise balance, water temperatures hovering just below freezing, currents slow enough to allow rotation, but strong enough to prevent stagnation. They appear most often in the liminal weeks between winter and spring, when thawing days and freezing nights collaborate in the dance of ice's transformation. In Scandinavia, they're called ice pans. In Alaska, ice disks. But wherever they form, they share the same quiet magnetism, a harmony of chaos and order. History carries fragments of their mystery. Indigenous Sami legends once interpreted ice circles as portals to the spirit world, frozen doorways guarded by ancestral beings. Early 20th century explorers, stumbling upon them in Canada's remote rivers, speculated about underground vortices or extraterrestrial whimsy. Science, too, was slow to unravel their cause. Not until the 1930s did researchers begin to decode the interplay of hydrology and thermodynamics that gives them form. Even today, each discovery feels like uncovering a stanza in an ancient elemental poem. There is a deeper resonance in their symmetry. Ice circles mirror patterns found across the natural world. The spiral of a nautilus shell, the orbit of planets, the radial bloom of a snowflake. Physicists recognize them as examples of symmetry breaking, where random forces give rise to perfect order. Philosophers might ponder their metaphor, how even in turbulence there exists a pull toward balance, a universal yearning for shape amid chaos. To witness an ice circle is to observe time made visible. The disk rotates imperceptibly, an hourglass of ice, marking moments not in seconds, but in the slow arc of its spin. Migratory birds sometimes land on them, mistaking the smooth surfaces for open water, adding fleeting footprints to their story. Under moonlight, they glow like pale coins dropped by the night itself, a currency of wonder. As the narrative ebbs, consider the ice circle's ephemeral truth. It thrives only as long as the river permits, dissolving when currents shift or temperatures rise. Its beauty lies in its transience, a reminder that perfection is not a permanent state, but a momentary alignment of conditions. Climate scientists note that as winters grow erratic, such phenomena may become rarer, their delicate balance disrupted by the planet's fever. Yet for now, they persist. Ice circles are not miracles, but testaments to the ordinary magic of physical laws, a dance of molecules and momentum available to anyone patient enough to look. They ask no reverence, but reward it with a quiet lesson, that the world is full of hidden orders, patterns waiting to be read in the margins of the wild. In the end, these frozen mandalas are more than curiosities. They are mirrors of the universe's fondness for form, invitations to marvel at the elegance of natural laws. As the circle turns, it whispers a truth as old as rivers, that chaos and beauty are not opposites, but partners, spinning together in the endless waltz of existence. The light pillars in cold skies. In the crystalline silence of a sub-zero night, when the air itself seems to freeze, the sky occasionally erects luminous columns, ghostly pillars of light stretching from Earth to stars. These are not auroras, nor celestial gateways, but a dance of ice and illumination. Light pillars, spectral architecture painted by the cold, a phenomenon where the atmosphere becomes both artist and canvas. The science of these apparitions begins at the molecular level. On nights when temperatures plunge below -20 degrees Celsius, the air aloft crystallizes into hexagonal ice platelets thinner than a human hair. These flakes drift horizontally, like countless frozen mirrors suspended in the dark. When artificial lights, street lamps, car headlights, city glow, shine upward, the crystals reflect the beams vertically, stacking the light into ethereal pillars. The colder and calmer the air, the more defined the columns, their height determined by the altitude of the ice layer. Nature too can paint them. Moonlight or sunset hues sometimes cast softer pillars, blending the mundane and the sublime. This interplay of geometry and light is delicate. The ice crystals must align almost perfectly flat to create the mirror effect, a statistical rarity orchestrated by still, frigid air. In places like Alaska, northern Canada, or Siberia, where winter grips the land with iron breath, light pillars materialize frequently. Yet even there, each display is fleeting, dissolving when winds stir the crystals or clouds veil the sky. History has often mistaken them for omens. Medieval chronicles describe heavenly spears, foretelling war or divine wrath. Indigenous Sami traditions viewed them as pathways for spirits ascending to the northern lights. During World War II, pilots over Scandinavia reported phantom searchlights, sparking fears of enemy technology. Modern science demystified them in the 1970s, yet their magic persists, a reminder that wonder survives explanation. Light pillars share kinship with other optical phenomena. Like sundogs or halos, they are born of ice and light, cousins in a family of sky art. Yet they stand apart in their verticality, their reliance on human-made illumination. They are, in essence, a collaboration, a conversation between civilization and the elements. Urban light pollution, often decried for obscuring the stars, here becomes an unwitting participant in creating beauty. There is poetry in their duality. They are illusions yet rooted in physics, transient yet recurring across millennia. Philosophers might see them as metaphors for human aspiration, light reaching upward, constrained only by the limits of atmosphere. Ecologists note their fragility. A warming climate could render them rarer, as the deep cold they require retreats poleward. Each pillar is a collective work. Millions of ice crystals, each reflecting a fragment of light, conspire to create the illusion of a solid beam. In this way, they mirror snowflakes. A single crystal is simple, but in multitude they birth complexity. The pillars ask us to reconsider scale. What is invisible alone becomes profound in unison. As the narrative slows, consider the pillars' quiet lesson. They are not celestial miracles, but earthly ones, born of water's twin states, liquid and solid, and humanity's restless light. They blur the line between natural and artificial, reminding us that even our city's glow can, under the right conditions, converse with the wild. To stand beneath them is to inhabit a liminal space, between ground and sky, science and myth. They do not shimmer like auroras, nor dazzle like meteors. Their beauty is subtler, a reminder that the atmosphere is alive with unseen interactions, a silent symphony of light and crystal. In the end, light pillars are more than optical tricks. They are echoes of the universe's hidden order, invitations to look upward with fresh eyes. As the cold tightens its grip and the pillars rise, they whisper an old truth, that darkness is not empty, but a theatre. And in that theatre, the simplest elements, ice, light, stillness, stage performances that humble, haunt, and heal. The frost flowers on sea ice. In the silent embrace of the polar dawn, where the horizon blurs into an endless expanse of ice and sky, the sea occasionally breathes forth a garden of glass. Delicate tendrils of ice spiral upward, each a frozen bloom more intricate than the last. These are frost flowers, ethereal sculptures that crown newborn sea ice, a fleeting masterpiece woven from cold, salt, and the whispered secrets of the ocean. Their creation begins in the liminal space between elements. On days when the air plunges to -20 degrees Celsius or colder, and the sea ice is fresh and thin, a delicate alchemy unfolds. The relatively warmer ice exhales water vapor, which meets the frigid air and freezes instantly. Layer by layer, this vapor crystallizes into feathery structures, drawing salt upward from the brine channels below. The result is a garden of hypersaline ice filaments, some towering several centimeters high, each as fragile as a moth's wing. Unlike snowflakes born of atmospheric moisture, frost flowers are rooted in the sea, a collaboration between ocean and atmosphere. These transient blooms are more than ice. Within their saline veins thrive microorganisms, bacteria and algae, transported from the ocean's surface. For these tiny life forms, the flowers become temporary sanctuaries, miniature ecosystems glittering in the polar twilight. Scientists studying these habitats liken them to icy coral reefs, hinting that life, even in the harshest realms, finds a way to sculpt refuge from raw elements. History holds fragments of their story. Early 20th century explorers, like Shackleton and Nansen, documented ice blossoms in their journals, marveling at their beauty but dismissing them as curiosities. Inuit elders, attuned to the subtleties of ice, recognized them as markers of newly formed sea ice, a surface too thin for safe travel, yet rich with stories. Modern research, using micro-CT scanners, has revealed their complex lattice work, while climate models track their role in releasing salt aerosols into the air, subtly influencing cloud formation over polar seas. There is poetry in their existence. Frost flowers bloom only under precise conditions, vanishing when winds stir the air or the ice thickens. They are both ephemeral and resilient, a testament to nature's ability to craft beauty from extremity. Philosophers might see in them a metaphor for the human spirit, fragile yet persistent, thriving where logic insists it should not. Ecologists find a lesson in interconnection. These icy structures influence everything from microbial life to global salt cycles, a reminder that smallness does not equate to insignificance. As the narrative softens, consider the flower's silent dialogue with time. Each crystal is a snapshot of a moment's perfect balance between warmth and cold, stillness and motion. They are winter's fireweed, emerging after the sea ices freeze up, only to melt away under the faintest breath of sunlight. Their fleeting presence mirrors the polar regions themselves, vulnerable, exquisite, and critical to the planet's equilibrium. In the end, frost flowers are not merely ice. They are a language spoken in the quiet intervals between freeze and thaw. To study them is to read a poem written by the elements, a hymn to the ingenuity of life and the artistry of physics. They remind us that wonder often dwells in the margins, in the spaces the world has not yet rushed to explain. As the climate shifts and polar winters grow uncertain, these icy blossoms may become rarer, their delicate balance disrupted. Yet for now, they persist. A fleeting bloom on the cheek of the sea, a reminder that even in the coldest corners of existence, the earth conspires to create beauty. A whisper in ice and salt that the world remains full of mysteries waiting to be witnessed. The fire rainbows. In the zenith of a summer sky, where the sun hangs like a pendant of gold, there occasionally unfolds a spectacle that seems to defy the elements. Bands of spectral light, vivid as molten gemstones, blaze across the clouds. Flames without heat, rainbows without rain. This is the fire rainbow, a paradox of ice and light, a celestial forge where the sun's rays are hammered into colour by the anvil of the atmosphere. Scientifically termed circumhorizontal arcs, these phenomena are born not of fire, but of frost. Their canvas is the cirrus cloud, wispy, high-altitude formations where temperatures hover near -30 degrees Celsius. Within these clouds, hexagonal ice crystals float like infinitesimal prisms. When the sun ascends higher than 58 degrees, a mid-latitude summer occurrence, its light pierces the crystals' vertical faces, refracting through their icy facets. Like a master glassblower shaping silica, the crystals bend and split the light, fanning it into a horizontal spectrum, red, orange, yellow. Each hue emerges at a precise angle, painting the sky with a chromatic wedge that mirrors the horizon. The fire rainbow's geometry is exacting. The sun must be a jeweler, the clouds a carefully set gemstone. Even a slight tilt in the ice crystals, or a sun too low, dissolves the illusion. This precision renders them rare, visible only a few times a year in regions between 55 degrees north and 55 degrees south. In Nordic myths, such arcs were bridges for Valkyries. To the Maori, they signaled the pathways of ancestors. Modern science, for all its instruments, still marvels at their transient perfection, a reminder that the sky reserves its most exquisite performances for those who watch patiently. These arcs share kinship with halos and sundogs, yet stand apart in their vibrancy. While ordinary rainbows form from raindrops and luck, fire rainbows demand alignment, ice, altitude, angle, and season conspiring in quiet unison. Their colours are purer, undiluted by the scattering that softens their watery cousins. To witness one is to see sunlight dissected with laboratory precision, yet rendered on a scale that dwarfs human ambition. There is poetry in their contradictions. They are ice that burns, rainbows that never touch the earth, ephemeral yet governed by eternal physics. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for enlightenment, truths that blaze brightest when conditions align. Environmentalists note their fragility. As cirrus clouds thin under climate change, these arcs may fade, their ethereal art lost to the chaos of a warming world. Each fire rainbow is a silent symphony of variables. The ice crystals, plate-shaped and miles aloft, act as both instrument and musician. The sun, in its seasonal arc, conducts. Together they perform a piece written into the laws of optics, played only when the cosmos deigns to tune itself. As the narrative stills, consider the arc's transient lesson. It exists only as long as the crystals hold their formation, the sun its station. Unlike mountains or oceans, it claims no permanence, yet in its fleeting moment, it rivals their grandeur. It asks nothing of its audience but attention, a currency as rare as the phenomenon itself. In the end, the fire rainbow is more than optical splendor. It is a cipher of the sky's hidden order, a proof that even the air we breathe can sculpt light into revelation. To glimpse one is to briefly hold the sun's spectrum in your gaze, a reminder that wonder is not a deviation from the mundane, but a lens through which the mundane becomes sublime. The fire rainbow does not burn, nor does it quench. It simply is, a momentary alignment of worlds, a whisper from the atmosphere that even in the ordinary blue there lies a palette waiting to ignite. And in that ignition, a quiet truth. The universe is not just above us, but all around, painting its secrets in light for those who think to look up. The brinicles, the ice fingers of death. In the hushed crystalline depths beneath polar sea ice, where sunlight barely whispers through the frozen surface, a strange and haunting transformation unfolds. Delicate tendrils of ice descend like ghostly fingers, reaching into the dark, slowly, inexorably, freezing everything they touch. These are brinicles, nature's frozen sculptures, as beautiful as they are lethal, where the ocean's brine becomes a chrysalis of ice and mystery. The birth of a brinicle begins with winter's grip. As seawater freezes into sea ice, it expels salt, creating pockets of hypersaline brine. This frigid, dense liquid sinks through the ice, a river of cold heavier than the surrounding ocean. When the brine meets slightly warmer water below, a paradox occurs. The sinking brine supercools the seawater around it, dropping its temperature below freezing without turning to ice. Instantly, the supercooled water begins to crystallize, encasing the sinking brine in a fragile tube of ice. Layer by layer, the brinacle grows downward, a hollow stalactite of death inching toward the sea floor. These ice fingers are both artists and assassins. Their delicate, lace-like structures can span meters, shimmering like glass chandeliers in the polar twilight. Yet as they descend, they freeze sea stars, urchins, and other slow-moving creatures in their path, preserving them in icy tombs. The first footage of a forming brinacle, captured by the BBC's Frozen Planet in 2011, revealed this dance of creation and destruction in eerie detail, a process once theorized but never before seen. The phenomenon is as ancient as the poles themselves. Indigenous Arctic and Antarctic peoples likely witnessed brinicles' aftermath, fields of frozen life beneath the ice, though their stories remain unrecorded. Modern science named them in the 1960s, blending brine and icicle to describe their dual nature. Yet even now, they guard secrets. How some microorganisms thrive in their saline veins, or how their formation influences the chemistry of the deep. There is a stark poetry in their existence. Brinicles mirror Earth's broader cycles, the expulsion of salt echoing the planet's rhythms of release and renewal. They are reminders that beauty and danger often share the same face, that life and ice coexist in a fragile equilibrium. Ecologists find in them a paradox. Brinicles destroy, yet their icy structures may also create microhabitats, nooks where life huddles against the cold. To witness a brinacle is to observe time itself freezing. The process unfolds over hours, a slow-motion cascade of ice knitting itself into being. Sunlight, diffused through meters of ice above, bathes them in an ethereal blue, as if the ocean itself mourns their transient cruelty. Yet their fragility is profound. A touch, a current, a shift in temperature shatters them, returning their elements to the sea. As the narrative stills, consider the brinicle's lesson. It is a bridge between phases, solid and liquid, salt and fresh, life and death. In its descent, it embodies the polar ocean's harsh logic, a world where survival demands resilience, where ice sculpts as much as it obliterates. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for creation, how all things, even destruction, leave something new in their wake. The brinacle does not linger. Once its brine dissipates, or the ice above thickens, it ceases to grow, dissolving into the water that birthed it. Its legacy is a fleeting mosaic of ice and salt, a testament to the ocean's hidden alchemy. Climate scientists note that as polar seas warm, brinicles may become rarer, their delicate balance disrupted by a planet in flux. In the end, these ice fingers are more than curiosities. They are whispers from the abyss, reminders that the Earth's most profound stories unfold beyond human sight. To know them is to glimpse the quiet ferocity of nature, a force that sculpts with the same hand it destroys. The brinacle does not apologize for its lethality, nor boast of its beauty. It simply is, a frozen moment in the ocean's endless dialogue between fluid and crystal, darkness and light. And in that truth, there is a humbling clarity, a recognition that even in the deepest cold, the world thrums with transformations we are only beginning to understand. The Great Blue Hole of Belize. In the cerulean embrace of the Caribbean Sea, off the coast of Belize, lies a portal to another world, a perfect circle of midnight blue, stretching 300 meters wide, its depths plunging 125 meters into the unknown. This is the Great Blue Hole, a marine abyss where the ocean folds in on itself, a silent sentinel guarding eons of Earth's secrets. To gaze upon it from above is to peer into the pupil of the sea, an eye that has witnessed the rise and fall of ice ages, the slow dance of continents, and the whispered stories of time itself. The story of this submerged cathedral, begins over 150,000 years ago, during the planet's icy breath known as the last glacial period. Sea levels lay hundreds of feet lower, exposing a limestone plateau. Rain, slightly acidic from absorbing atmospheric carbon dioxide, seeped into the rock, sculpting vast caverns over millennia. When the glaciers melted and seas rose around 14,000 years ago, the water's weight collapsed the cave roofs, leaving a vertical chasm. Today, the hole's walls curve like the ribs of a sunken cathedral, adorned with ancient stalactites, stone icicles that once dripped in air, now suspended in saltwater silence. Beneath its sapphire surface, the hole holds layers of mystery. Descending past 90 meters, sunlight surrenders to darkness, and the water grows toxic with hydrogen sulfide, a boundary where aerobic life fades and the realm of extremophiles begins. Here, in the anoxic depths, microorganisms thrive without oxygen, their existence a flicker in the perpetual night. The hole's stratified waters act as a geological ledger, preserving sediments that chronicle millennia of hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and climatic shifts. Human curiosity has long been drawn to this abyss. The Maya, skilled navigators of these waters, may have revered it as a gateway to the underworld. Modern exploration began in 1971 when Jacques Cousteau, aboard the Calypso, charted its depths, revealing stalactites tilted at 12 degrees, evidence of tectonic shifts that tilted the entire cave system. In 2018, a submarine expedition led by Richard Branson and Aquatica Submarines mapped its floor in unprecedented detail, discovering mineral formations and the tracks of long-extinct creatures fossilized in silt. The Great Blue Hole is more than a geological wonder. It is a living classroom. Its walls host blacktip sharks and midnight parrotfish. Its rim, part of the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System, shelters vibrant coral nurseries. Yet this ecosystem whispers fragility. Runoff from agriculture and rising ocean temperatures threaten its delicate balance, prompting UNESCO to designate it a World Heritage Site, a plea to protect what time has so meticulously crafted. There is poetry in its duality. The hole is both tomb and cradle, a grave for the limestone caves of the past, a nursery for the reefs of the future. Its existence mirrors the human condition, a blend of beauty and peril, memory and oblivion. Philosophers might ponder its depths as a metaphor for the unknown within us all, while scientists see a climate archive, its layers awaiting decoding like lines of an epic poem. As the narrative stills, consider the hole's quiet defiance. It has endured asteroid strikes and ice ages, yet persists as a testament to Earth's resilience. In its darkness, we find light, the light of understanding, of connection to a planet that is both our home and a stranger. The Great Blue Hole does not beckon with answers, but with questions. It invites us to ponder our place in a story written over millennia, reminding us that the Earth's wonders are not infinite, but finite, fragile, and irreplaceable. To dive into its depths, whether with submarines or imagination, is to touch the pulse of geologic time, to feel the weight of water and history pressing in. In the end, this azure void is a mirror. It reflects our awe, our hunger for discovery, and our duty to preserve. As the Caribbean tides ebb and flow above its ancient stalactites, the hole remains, a submerged hymn to the planet's hidden majesty, and a silent promise that wonder still lies beneath the waves, waiting. The underwater crop circles. In the silent galleries of the ocean floor, where sunlight fades to twilight and sand stretches like an untouched canvas, nature occasionally inscribes its most enigmatic art. Delicate circles, precise as compass-drawn geometries, ripple across the seabed, their ridges and valleys forming patterns worthy of a master sculptor. These are underwater crop circles, fleeting masterpieces etched not by tools or hands, but by the fins of a creature no larger than a human palm. A mystery that once baffled scientists, now revealed as a testament to life's quiet ingenuity. The artist behind these submerged labyrinths is the white-spotted pufferfish, a modest dweller of the Pacific's sandy plains. Each circle, spanning up to 2 meters in diameter, begins as a courtship ritual. The male pufferfish swims tirelessly, sweeping his fins to carve troughs in the sediment. He alternates between inward and outward spirals, sculpting radial ridges that channel currents toward a central nest. The peaks of these ridges are studded with shell fragments, a decorative lure to attract a mate. The valleys, meanwhile, serve as moats, shielding the eggs he hopes to guard from ocean currents and predators. Over 7 to 9 days, this Piscine architect transforms barren sand into a sanctuary, blending form and function with precision that rivals human engineering. These circles are more than romantic gestures. They are feats of hydrodynamic genius. The ridges act as natural barriers, redirecting water flow to prevent the nest from collapsing. The central chamber, where the female deposits her eggs, becomes a vortex of calm in the shifting sands. Scientists studying the structures have found that the pufferfish's movements sort sediment by grain size, creating a stable foundation, a skill once thought exclusive to humans and machines. When the eggs hatch, the currents funnel nutrients toward the larvae, a final flourish in the father's custodial care. History once cloaked these circles in myth. Discovered off Japan's Amami Oshima Island in 1995, they were initially attributed to alien visitors or cryptic sea creatures. Local fishermen spun tales of underwater spirits, while marine biologists puzzled over their origin. It wasn't until 2011 that a diver, hidden in the shadows, witnessed the pufferfish at work, a revelation that dissolved mystery into marvel. Today, these formations join termite mounds and bowerbird bowers as icons of animal artistry, proving that creativity is not humanity's sole domain. There is poetry in the pufferfish's labour. His circles mirror sacred mandalas, ephemeral and intricate, destroyed by tides once their purpose is served. They evoke the spiral galaxies above, the fractal branching of ferns, the whirl of a seashell's curve, a reminder that nature's patterns repeat across scales, binding cosmos and current. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for devotion. The pufferfish's dance is both love song and life work, a fleeting act of beauty in service of continuity. As the narrative slows, consider the fragility of this balance. Rising ocean temperatures and sediment pollution threaten the pufferfish's habitat, risking the loss of these living sculptures. Yet their existence offers hope, proof that life adapts, creates, and persists, even in the face of oblivion. Each circle is a whisper from the deep, urging us to look closer, to find wonder in the small and the unseen. Underwater crop circles do not endure. They are sand and motion, here and gone. But in their brief existence, they speak volumes, of instinct refined over millennia, of beauty forged by necessity, of a world where even the simplest creatures are capable of the sublime. In the end, these submerged spirals are more than biological curiosities. They are hymns to the intersection of art and survival, written in the language of fins and tides. To know them is to glimpse the ocean's hidden heart, a place where life, in all its forms, dances to rhythms older than time. A reminder that the Earth's greatest masterpieces often lie where we least expect them, waiting to be read in the sand. The green flash at sunset. In the final breath of daylight, when the sun kisses the horizon and the sky holds its hues in tender balance, there exists a moment, a mere heartbeat, when the heavens may offer a secret. A flicker of emerald, vivid and brief, crowns the sinking sun before it vanishes into twilight. This is the green flash, a celestial whisper, a chromatic sonnet composed by light and atmosphere, fleeting as a sigh. The science of this spectacle begins with the prism of the sky. As sunlight traverses Earth's atmosphere, it bends, a process called refraction. The shorter, greener wavelengths curve more sharply than red or yellow, separating like threads in a cosmic loom. When the sun nears the horizon, its light passes through denser layers of air, amplifying this chromatic dispersion. For an instant, as the last sliver of sun dips below the edge of the world, the green component briefly dominates, a final note in the solar symphony. Conditions must align like stars: a clear, unobstructed horizon, stable air, and eyes attuned to the exact moment of disappearance. Yet not all green flashes are born equal. Some appear as a band of jade hovering above the sun, others like a spark leaping from its edge. The mock mirage flash occurs in colder climates, where temperature inversions warp light into emerald shards. The inferior mirage flash, common over warm seas, stretches the sun into a green lens. Rarely, when the air is exceptionally pure, a blue flash may follow, its shorter wavelengths piercing the atmospheric veil before scattering into the void. History and myth have long chased this glow. Jules Verne immortalized it in Le Rayon Vert, casting it as a symbol of clarity for those pure of heart. Pacific Islanders wove it into navigational lore, a sign of the sea's blessing. Early photographers, like the 19th century pioneer T.S. Fairchild, spent years attempting to capture it, their glass plates yielding only sunburned horizons. Modern science demystified it, yet the green flash retains its aura, a reminder that some truths deepen rather than diminish wonder. There is poetry in its elusiveness. The flash mirrors life's own transient beauties: a shooting star, a blooming cactus flower, the arc of a hummingbird's flight. Philosophers might see it as a metaphor for epiphany, truths glimpsed only when we still our minds and watch the edges of things. Ecologists note its rarity as a barometer of atmospheric purity, a chromatic canary in the coal mine of our changing climate. To witness the green flash is to participate in a quiet pact with physics. It asks for patience, presence, and the humility to let the world reveal itself on its own terms. Sailors speak of it as a moment of communion, a reward for days spent scanning the horizon, a reminder that the sea and sky guard mysteries no instrument can fully pass. As the narrative stills, consider the layers of this phenomenon. It is both ordinary and extraordinary, born of mundane sunlight yet transformed by the alchemy of air. Its brevity is its essence, a lesson that wonder often dwells in the margins of attention, in the pause between heartbeats. The green flash does not blaze for acclaim. It simply is, a testament to light's journey, Earth's curve, and the silent agreements between eye and atmosphere. To seek it is to embrace the art of watching, to learn that the universe's most profound gifts are often measured in milliseconds. In the end, this emerald flicker is more than optics. It is an invitation to stand at the threshold of day and night, to merge science with soul, and to remember that magic persists in the interplay of light and longing. The green flash does not endure, but neither does it fade. It lingers in the mind's eye, a glowing ember of the truth that beauty, however brief, etches itself into the eternal. The snow rollers. In the hushed stillness of a winter morning, when the world lies blanketed in snow, nature occasionally unveils its most delicate sculptures. Across open fields and gentle slopes, mysterious forms appear, cylinders of snow, curled like sleeping swans or abandoned scrolls. These are snow rollers, ephemeral artworks crafted not by human hands, but by the quiet collaboration of wind, temperature, and the perfect kiss of frost. Their creation begins with a precise alchemy. First, a layer of ice forms atop the snowpack, a brittle crust beneath which lies softer, looser snow. Then a steady wind, gentle but insistent, lifts a fragment of this top layer, coaxing it into motion. As the slab curls forward, it gathers snow beneath it, rolling like a spindle winding thread. With each rotation, the growing cylinder sheds its innermost layers, leaving a hollow core. The result is a fragile spiral, a frozen echo of the wind's path. These formations are fleeting by design. Too much wind shatters them, too little leaves them stillborn. The snow must be just adhesive enough to cling as it rolls, yet dry enough to avoid clumping. Temperatures hovering near freezing allow the snowflakes to bond lightly, their crystalline arms interlocking like clasped fingers. When conditions align, the landscape becomes a gallery, snow rollers dotting the terrain like offerings from the winter gods. History has often mistaken them for signs. In medieval Europe, their sudden appearance sparked tales of nocturnal spirits or witches' revelries. Japanese poets saw them as yuki maru, snow pearls spun by the breath of mountain kami. Even in the 19th century, farmers in the American Midwest puzzled over these snow bales, sometimes attributing them to pranksters or prairie ghosts. Science eventually named them gypsum nives, snow gyres, but their poetry remains undimmed. There is a quiet harmony in their geometry. Each roller's hollow core mirrors the structure of bird bones, nature's preference for strength through emptiness. Their spirals evoke galaxies, nautilus shells, and the double helix of DNA, a reminder that patterns repeat across scales, binding microcosm to macrocosm. Ecologists note their role as temporary shelters for small creatures. Mice and insects burrow into their cavities, finding refuge from the wind's bite. As the narrative slows, consider the snow roller's impermanence. A rise in temperature, a shift in the breeze, and they collapse into formless drifts. Their beauty lies in their transience, a lesson in release, in the grace of existing fully for a moment, then returning to the whole. Climate scientists note their rarity, a barometer of winters growing either too harsh or too mild, their delicate balance disrupted by the planet's fever. Yet when they appear, they transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. A field of snow rollers is a testament to the unseen forces shaping our world. The same winds that carve dunes and polish stone, here working on a smaller, sweeter scale. They ask no admiration, but offer it freely to those who wander winter's quiet spaces. To witness them is to glimpse nature's capacity for play. The wind, often a destroyer, becomes an artist. The snow, a passive blanket, turns collaborator. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for surrender, how yielding to life's currents can birth unexpected beauty. In the end, snow rollers are more than curiosities. They are hymns to the marriage of chaos and order, evidence that even in the stillest moments the world is alive with motion. They remind us that magic need not be grand, that it can arrive softly, in the curl of a breeze, the turn of a crystal, the silent accumulation of wonder. And as the sun climbs, melting the bonds of ice and snow, the rollers dissolve, returning to the earth, their brief existence a whisper in winter's long exhale. A whisper that lingers, reminding us to look closely, for beauty often rolls in on quiet feet and leaves as gently as it came. The Moeraki Boulders. In the golden embrace of Koekohe Beach, where the South Pacific whispers against New Zealand's shores, a congregation of stone giants rests, smooth, spherical, and steeped in enigma. These are the Moeraki Boulders, geological marvels that dot the sand like marbles dropped by titans, their surfaces cracked with fractal patterns, their origins etched in deep time. To walk among them is to wander a gallery of Earth's patient artistry, where stone becomes sculpture, and mystery lingers in every curve. Their story begins 60 million years ago, in an ancient sea that once drowned this land. On the ocean floor, layers of mud, clay, and organic matter accumulated around a nucleus, a fossilized shell or bone fragment. Over millennia, minerals like calcite and quartz seeped into this core, cementing particles into a growing sphere. This process, known as concretion, unfolded with glacial slowness, each layer a testament to patience. The boulders formed not as singular rocks, but as geologic snowballs, gathering mass and symmetry under the weight of sediment and time. What sets the Moeraki boulders apart is their near-perfect sphericity. The even distribution of mineral cement allowed them to grow uniformly, resisting the pressures that might have flattened or fractured them. Their distinctive cracked surfaces, called septaria, emerged later as the concretions dried and shrank, creating fissures filled with golden calcite veins, nature's own filigree, ranging from 0.5 meter to over 2 meters in diameter. Some weigh several tons, yet appear as light as driftwood, their hollow cores echoing with the whispers of epochs. History and myth have long entwined around these stones. To the Maori, they are te kai hinaki, the food baskets of the ancestral canoe Arai Te Uru, wrecked nearby in a legendary storm. European settlers in the 19th century speculated they were dinosaur eggs or petrified fruit. Scientists once debated extraterrestrial origins before unraveling their terrestrial tale. Today, they stand as sentinels of paleontology, windows into the Eocene epoch, when this coast was a seabed teeming with primordial life. There is poetry in their duality. The boulders are both enduring and fragile. For millions of years they lay entombed in cliffs, revealed only as erosion carved the shoreline backward. Now exposed, they face a new dance with time. Tides polish their surfaces, while human hands chip away at their edges. Some have split open like geodes, offering cross-sections of their crystalline hearts. Others, still whole, roll gently in storms, as if stirred from slumber. Their kinship with similar formations, Kutu boulders in New Zealand, the stone spheres of Costa Rica, speaks to a universal geologic language, yet each locale whispers its own dialect of minerals and myth. The Moeraki septaria patterns mirror desert mud cracks, riverbed ripples, even the hexagonal basalt of Giant's Causeway, a reminder that Earth's artistry repeats motifs across mediums. As the narrative slows, consider the boulder's quiet dialogue with the elements. They are not relics, but participants, still evolving as salt and spray etch their surfaces. Their presence mirrors the human condition, shaped by invisible forces, bearing the scars of time, yet radiating an ageless grace. Philosophers might see here a lesson in resilience. Ecologists, a plea for stewardship. The Moeraki boulders do not command awe with grandeur, but with persistence. They are the Earth's memory-made stone, chronicles of an era when mammals were nascent and continents adrift. To touch their weathered skin is to brush fingers with epochs, to feel the weight of a planet's slow breath. In the end, these stones are more than geologic oddities. They are mirrors of deep time, reflecting our fleeting place in its expanse. As the Pacific laps at their bases and the southern winds hum through their cracks, they endure, not as monuments, but as mentors. Silent teachers of a truth as old as the hills. That beauty is forged not in moments, but in millennia, and that wonder, like stone, is shaped by the patient hand of the eternal. The phantom rainbows. In the quiet embrace of a mist-laden morning, when the world is veiled in a cloak of fog, an ethereal arch may grace the sky, a spectral cousin to the rainbow, pale and enigmatic. This is the phantom rainbow, a fog bow, a whisper of light where colour retreats into memory, leaving behind a ghostly curve of luminance, a phenomenon as elusive as a shadow, yet as real as the air we breathe. The science of this apparition begins where light meets the infinitesimal. Unlike its vibrant relative, the fog bow forms not from raindrops, but from droplets 100 times smaller, mere microns in size, suspended in fog or mist. Sunlight entering these droplets undergoes diffraction, bending around their edges, scattering wavelengths into a symphony of interference. This delicate interplay smears the rainbow spectrum into a monochrome arc, faintly tinged with red on the outer edge and blue within. The result is a luminous band, often spanning the horizon, its edges blending seamlessly into the fog that birthed it. To witness a fog bow is to stand in alignment with the sun at your back and the mist ahead, a geometry shared with traditional rainbows. Yet here the rules shift. The droplet's minuscule size, less than a human hair's width, transforms the physics. Dispersion, which splays sunlight into colours, yields to diffraction's soft blur. A veil drawn over the prism's work, In rare moments under moonlight's silver gaze, a lunar fog bow may materialize, even more spectral, a secret shared between the night and the fog. History has often mistaken these arcs for omens or illusions. Norse sailors feared them as bridges to the afterlife, while alpine travelers recounted tales of mountain spirits weaving mist into banners. The scientific gaze arrived in the 18th century, when philosophers like Bouguer and de Saussure began unravelling light's dance with water. Yet even now, the fogbow retains its mystique, a reminder that some truths, once revealed, deepen rather than diminish wonder. There is poetry in the fogbow's subtlety. It thrives not in the storm's aftermath, but in the quiet between breaths, a transient alignment of light and vapour. Its understated beauty mirrors life's own fleeting moments, the dew on a spider web, the pause between heartbeats, the first frost's lace. Philosophers might see here a lesson in attention, a call to cherish the quiet marvels that evade hurried glances. The fogbow's kin include other atmospheric spectres: the glory, a circular halo seen from above clouds, or the Brocken spectre, where one's shadow stretches giant size into mist. Each is a testament to light's choreography with Earth's elements, a ballet performed daily yet seldom noticed. As the narrative stills, consider the fogbow's silent teaching. It does not dazzle, but invites, a reminder that wonder need not shout. In a world clamouring for spectacle, it offers a different language, one of nuance, patience, and the elegance of smallness. In the end, the phantom rainbow is more than an optical rarity. It is a metaphor for the unseen beauty woven into the fabric of the mundane. To encounter one is to glimpse the universe's quiet side, where light and water conspire in hushed tones. It asks only that we pause, look, and let the mist reveal its gentle marvel, a fleeting arc, a breath of science, a brushstroke of the infinite. The sundogs and moon halos. In the crystalline embrace of a winter's dawn, or beneath the gauze of a cloud-veiled moon, the sky occasionally unveils its most delicate jewelry. Luminous companions flank the sun, twin flames of light, while silver rings encircle the moon, as though drawn by a celestial compass. These are sundogs and moon halos, atmospheric marvels where ice becomes prism, and light dances to the silent rhythms of geometry. Sundogs, or parhelia, begin their story in the cirrus clouds, feathery veils of ice crystals suspended miles above the Earth. When sunlight encounters hexagonal plate-shaped crystals, it bends at a precise 22-degree angle, splitting into spectral hues. The result is two glowing orbs flanking the sun, often tinged red on the inner edge and blue outward, like fragments of a rainbow drawn into the sky's embrace. These phantom suns mirror their source, yet stand apart, their brilliance sharpest when the true sun hangs low near the horizon. Moon halos follow a similar script but swap actors. Here the light is lunar, softer, and the ice crystals are columnar, tumbling through cirrostratus clouds. As moonlight refracts through their six-sided faces, it fans into a ring 22 degrees wide, a perfect circle of pearlescent light. Unlike sundogs, halos often appear colourless, their faint glow a testament to moonlight's gentler touch. Yet in rare moments, when the air thrums with ice, hints of red and blue may fringe the halo's edge, whispers of the spectrum hidden within the moon's silver kiss. These phenomena are as old as Earth's atmosphere. Aristotle chronicled sundogs in his Meteorology, pondering their fiery omen. Norse myths claimed they were fragments of the sun's chariot, scattered by wolves chasing the sky. Vikings may have used them to navigate polar seas, their position hinting at the sun's hidden path. Moon halos, meanwhile, have long been farmers' lore, a harbinger of storms, as the cirrostratus clouds that birth them often precede frontal systems. The science of these spectacles is a hymn to symmetry. The 22-degree angle is no accident. It's dictated by the hexagonal geometry of ice, a universal constant in Earth's skies. Each crystal acts as a microscopic prism, bending light with mathematical precision. When billions align, their collective refraction paints the heavens with light's hidden architecture. There is poetry in their impermanence. Sundogs flare and fade with the sun's ascent. Halos dissolve as clouds shift. They are reminders that beauty often resides in transience, in the alignment of fleeting conditions. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for perception, how reality fractures into facets, each observer catching a different gleam. The kinship between sundogs and halos extends to their celestial family. They share bloodlines with light pillars, circumzenithal arcs, and the elusive 46-degree halo, each a variation on the theme of ice and light. Together they form a lexicon of atmospheric optics, a language written in crystals and refraction. As the narrative stills, consider the quiet interplay they represent. Sundogs and halos are not anomalies but revelations, proof that the ordinary air we breathe is threaded with invisible artistry. They challenge us to look beyond the obvious, to see the sky not as empty expanse, but as a gallery of hidden wonders. In the end, these luminous phenomena are more than tricks of light. They are bridges between sun and ice, myth and measurement, the ancient and the eternal. To witness them is to glimpse the universe's quiet craftsmanship, to stand beneath a dome where physics and poetry share the same breath. The next time the sky wears its ice jewels, pause. Let the sundogs remind you that even the familiar sun holds secrets. Let the moon halo whisper that darkness too can wear a crown. For in their glow, we find a truth as old as starlight. The cosmos is not just above us, it is all around, painting its mysteries in the very air we share. The lenticular clouds over mountains. In the hallowed silence of alpine heights, where the air thins and the horizon stretches into eternity, mountains sometimes wear crowns not of snow, but of cloud. Smooth, lens-shaped formations hover above peaks, immobile, sculpted, as though carved from the sky itself. These are lenticular clouds, ephemeral monuments to the dance of wind and stone, where the atmosphere's invisible currents become visible poetry. Their birth is a tale of collision and balance. As moist air sweeps toward a mountain range, it is forced upward, cooling as it ascends. Upon reaching the dew point, water vapor condenses into droplets, layering into cloud. But here, the story diverges. Instead of scattering or drifting, the cloud holds, anchored by a delicate equilibrium. The mountain slope generates standing atmospheric waves, like ripples frozen in a stream. At the crest of these waves, the lenticular cloud forms, its base flat, its top rounded, a mirror of the mountain's hidden turbulence. When the wind's speed and humidity align, the cloud sustains itself. Air continuously flows through it, condensing on the windward side, evaporating leeward, leaving the cloud's shape unchanged. These formations are both sentinel and signal. To pilots, they whisper caution, marking zones of rotor turbulence that can buffet aircraft. To meteorologists, they hint at moisture aloft and shifting pressure, yet their allure transcends utility. Lenticular clouds often arrive in stacks, a tower of saucers glowing at sunset, their edges gilded by the dying light. Some linger for hours, others dissolve in moments, fleeting as a breath on glass. History has clothed them in mystique. The Aymara people of the Andes saw them as bridges to Apus, mountain spirits. Japanese artists immortalized them hovering near Fujisan, their symmetry echoing the peak's perfection. In 20th century America, their uncanny geometry sparked UFO reports, the clouds mistaken for otherworldly craft. Science, too, was entranced. In the 1930s, glider pilots surfed their wave lifts, discovering the unseen architecture of the sky. There is a quiet irony in their stillness. Lenticular clouds are born of chaos, the violent rise and fall of air over jagged terrain, yet they embody serenity. Their curves are precise, a geometry born from turbulence, much like the spiral of a galaxy or the orbit of a moon. Philosophers might find here a metaphor for resilience, how beauty can emerge from collision, how stillness can ride the shoulders of motion. As the narrative slows, consider the cloud's silent dialogue with the mountain. It is a partnership of elements, a testament to the intimacy between earth and sky. The mountain, ancient and unyielding, the cloud, transient and fluid, each shapes the other. Over millennia, peaks erode. Over moments, clouds dissolve. Yet in their intersection, they craft something timeless. Lenticular clouds do not linger for farewells. When winds shift or moisture fades, they vanish, leaving the mountain bare once more. Their ephemerality is their essence, a reminder that nature's most exquisite works are often its most fleeting. Climate scientists note that as air currents alter in a warming world, these clouds may become rarer, their delicate balance another casualty of the Anthropocene. In the end, these sky sculptures are more than meteorological marvels. They are hymns to the unseen forces that shape our world, the silent music of physics made visible. To stand beneath one is to witness the atmosphere dreaming aloud, to see the wind's breath made tangible. And as the last light fades, painting the cloud in twilight hues, we are reminded. The universe writes its poetry in many languages. Here it speaks in the dialect of ice and air, of peak and current, a verse of transience and permanence, echoing the oldest truth of all. That beauty, however brief, is never an accident. It is a conversation, and in the mountain's shadow, that conversation never ends. The bloop, mysterious ocean sound. In the eternal night of the ocean's abyss, where pressure bends steel and light dares not linger, a sound once echoed, a low, resonant bloop that travelled thousands of miles, defying explanation. This was the bloop, a sonic enigma that pulsed through the Pacific's depths in 1997, a murmur from the unknown that stirred both scientific intrigue and primal wonder. The tale begins with hydrophones, submerged sentinels left by the US Navy to monitor submarines during the Cold War. By the 1990s, these instruments found new purpose, listening not for engines, but for Earth's whispers. In the summer of '97, a network near the equator detected something extraordinary, a sound wave so powerful it saturated multiple sensors. Lasting just over a minute, its frequency hovered below 20 Hz, a register too deep for human ears, but felt in the bones of the ocean itself. Initial analysis sent ripples through the scientific community. The bloop's profile resembled biological origins, like the calls of blue whales, yet dwarfing them in magnitude. For a fleeting moment, imaginations wandered to the speculative. Could an undiscovered leviathan, larger than any known creature, lurk in the Hadal Zone? The sound's epicenter, west of South America near the tectonically restless Pacific-Antarctic ridge, only deepened the mystery. Yet the ocean seldom yields to myth. By 2005, researchers revisited the data, comparing the bloop to a library of ice quakes, sounds generated by icebergs fracturing. The match was striking. The bloop's signature aligned with ice carving, the process where glaciers shed massive chunks into the sea. When icebergs crack, they release energy across vast frequencies, their groans amplified by the ocean's SOFAR channel, a horizontal layer where sound travels with minimal loss. The bloop, scientists concluded, was likely the cry of an Antarctic ice sheet, a frozen colossus crumbling into the Southern Ocean. History lends context to the allure. For centuries, sailors spun tales of sea serpents and krakens, projecting fears onto the deep's opaque veil. The bloop briefly resurrected these myths, a reminder of how little we know of the abyss. Even today, 80% of the ocean remains unmapped, a frontier as alien as distant planets. There is poetry in the bloop's resolution. What began as a cipher, a siren song from the dark, became a testament to Earth's dynamic voice. Ice, often perceived as silent and static, revealed its capacity to roar. The The sound's journey through the SOFAR channel mirrors the ocean's role as a conductor, carrying messages from pole to pole. Yet the bloop's legacy endures beyond its explanation. It underscores the ocean's dual nature, a realm of both revelation and secrecy. Hydrophones still capture unexplained sounds, the haunting Julia, the oscillating slow down, each a puzzle waiting for its key. These acoustic ghosts remind us that understanding the sea is not a destination, but a voyage. As the narrative ebbs, consider the bloop's lesson. It is a parable of curiosity, a reminder that mysteries, once solved, do not diminish wonder, but deepen it. The ice's song, once mistaken for a monster, connects us to the planet's rhythms, the shudder of glaciers, the sigh of tectonic plates, the pulse of a world in flux. The ocean does not surrender its secrets lightly. For every bloop explained, a dozen whispers remain. To listen is to hear the Earth's heartbeat, ancient and alive, a rhythm older than time. And in that rhythm, there is a truth as profound as the deep itself. The unknown is not a void to fear, but a horizon to approach, with patience, humility, and the quiet thrill of the unanswered. The circles in Arctic tundra. In the vast, windswept expanses of the Arctic tundra, where the ground breathes with the rhythms of frost and thaw, nature inscribes cryptic patterns into the earth. Perfect circles, polygons, and labyrinthine ridges tessellate the landscape, geometric poetry etched into soil and stone. These are the Arctic's patterned ground formations, silent testaments to the dialogue between ice and time, where the very earth becomes an artist. The story of these circles begins in the permafrost, a layer of soil frozen for millennia. During brief Arctic summers, the active layer atop the permafrost thaws, saturating with meltwater. As autumn's chill returns, this water freezes, expanding by 9% and thrusting stones upward. Over centuries, repeated freeze-thaw cycles act like a slow-motion loom, weaving stones into rings and soil into polygons. Larger rocks heaved upward migrate to the edges of these circles, while finer grains settle at the center, a process called frost sorting. The result is a mosaic of order where chaos yields to geometry. These formations vary with the land's whispers. On slopes, solifluction, a viscous creep of waterlogged soil, sculpts terraces and lobes. In flat basins, ice wedges fracture the ground into honeycomb polygons, each cell spanning meters. Stone circles, the most haunting, resemble Neolithic ruins, their symmetry so precise they seem crafted by hands unseen. Scientists have found similar patterns on Mars, where freeze-thaw cycles once shaped the red planet's now silent plains. History and myth have long pondered these designs. Indigenous Sami and Inuit traditions speak of uloksak, spirits shaping the land during the long polar night. Early European explorers, baffled by the circles, speculated about ancient civilizations or meteor impacts. It wasn't until the 20th century that geologist Carl Troll unraveled their cryogenic origins, mapping their kinship to permafrost's pulse. There is poetry in their patience. Each circle grows over decades, stones inching centimeters per year. They mirror the spiral of galaxies and the bubbles in foam, a reminder that nature repeats its motifs across scales. Ecologists find life thriving in their microhabitats, mosses cushioning the centers, lichens clinging to stone borders, lemmings burrowing beneath the frost-heaved ridges. Yet these patterns are fragile. As the Arctic warms, permafrost thaws irreversibly. The ground slumps, circles deform, and ancient carbon stirs from its icy vault. Scientists monitor these changes, reading the tundra's transformations as a ledger of climate shifts. The same forces that birthed the circles may now herald their dissolution. As the narrative stills, consider the tundra's lesson. These formations are not static, but fluid, a dance of elements in slow motion. They embody equilibrium, a balance struck between freezing and thawing, movement and stasis. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for resilience, how order can emerge from turbulence, how beauty can persist in the harshest realms. In the end, the Arctic circles are more than geological curiosities. They are meditations on time, collaborations between ice and stone. To walk among them is to tread on a living parchment, where the earth writes its slow, cold sonnets. As the midnight sun hovers and the wind hums across the tundra, the circles endure. A reminder that even in the most silent and frozen places, the world is alive with motion. Not the motion of seconds, but of centuries. A language of patience, written in soil and frost, waiting for those who listen with their eyes. The star jelly. In the quiet hours after a meteor shower, when the night sky still hums with the memory of falling stars, a peculiar substance sometimes appears, glistening, translucent, and ephemeral. This is star jelly, a mystery that has draped itself in celestial myth and earthly science, a substance that seems to bridge the cosmos and the soil beneath our feet. The enigma begins with its appearance. Found on grass, tree branches, or open fields, star jelly manifests as blobs of gelatinous matter, often colorless, sometimes tinged with blue or pink. Its texture defies simple description. Neither wholly solid nor liquid, it quivers like a creature from a dream before vanishing under the sun's gaze. Medieval chronicles called it astral mucus, believing it to be the melted remains of shooting stars. Welsh folklore named it Pwdre Ser, rot from the stars, a poetic nod to its otherworldly allure. Science, ever the gentle demystifier, offers earthly origins. One prevailing theory whispers of amphibians. When predators like herons or crows consume frogs or toads, they often regurgitate the indigestible oviduct gel that surrounds the eggs. This gel, composed of mucoproteins, swells with moisture, becoming the trembling blobs we call star jelly. In 2013, genetic analysis of samples from Scotland confirmed traces of amphibian DNA, lending weight to this explanation. Yet the story deepens. Slime molds, those enigmatic organisms that dance between kingdoms, can coalesce into gelatinous masses after rains. Species like nostoc, a cyanobacteria, form colonies resembling gelatin when hydrated, a survival tactic for arid times. These living networks, ancient as photosynthesis itself, pulse with a primal rhythm, challenging our definitions of life. History's pages flutter with star jelly's cameos. In 1641, English naturalist John Morton documented it as stellar terrae, pondering its link to celestial influences. The 19th century saw it debated in royal societies, samples sealed in jars like captured phantoms. Even NASA, in the 1970s, investigated similar substances during the Viking missions, seeking and not finding life in Martian soils. There is poetry in its persistence. Star jelly dwells in liminal spaces, between day and night, myth and molecule, decay and creation. It mirrors the human condition, a quest to reconcile wonder with understanding. Philosophers might see here a metaphor for the unknown, how what we cannot name, we cloak in legend. As the narrative stills, consider the dual lens through which we view such phenomena. Star jelly is not less magical for being earthly. Its beauty lies in its duality, a reminder that the cosmos mysteries are not only in distant galaxies, but here, in the dewy grass, in the interplay of life and death. In the end, star jelly invites us to dwell in the questions. It is a testament to nature's flair for the enigmatic, a nudge to cherish the unexplained. For in the space between knowing and wondering, there blooms a quiet, radiant truth. The universe is richer when it keeps a few secrets, glowing softly in the dark. The aurora sounds. In the hushed stillness of an Arctic night, beneath the shimmering veils of the aurora borealis, a secret symphony occasionally stirs. Ethereal crackles, soft hisses, whispers that seem to ride the edge of hearing. These are the sounds of the aurora, a haunting counterpoint to the light dance above, a phenomenon that blurs the line between sight and sound, weaving the sky into a multi-sensory sonata. The science of these sounds begins not in the ionosphere, where the lights themselves blaze, but much closer to Earth. During intense geomagnetic storms, solar particles collide with atmospheric molecules, creating not just light, but electric fields. Near the ground, particularly under inversions where cold air is trapped, these fields build until they discharge, miniature sparks leaping between layers of air. The resulting sound waves, akin to static or distant applause, travel downward, reaching listeners as faint transient noises. To hear them, one needs silence, cold, -30 degrees Celsius or below, and a touch of fortune, a reminder that nature's concerts are selective. These auditory echoes are fleeting, lasting seconds, yet they carry the weight of centuries. Indigenous Sami traditions speak of the aurora's voice, a chorus of ancestral spirits crackling as they traverse the sky. Early 20th century explorers dismissed such accounts as folklore until Finnish researchers in 2012 captured the sounds with specialized microphones. The recordings revealed pops at 70 to 100 meters altitude, aligning with the electric field theory, a bridge between ancestral wisdom and quantum physics. The aurora's acoustics are shaped by the same forces that paint the sky. Coronal mass ejections from the sun send charged particles spiraling along Earth's magnetic field lines. When these particles strike oxygen and nitrogen, they excite atoms that release photons, the aurora's glow. But some energy cascades downward, ionizing the lower atmosphere. Here, the air itself becomes a capacitor, charging until it arcs, releasing bursts of sound. It is a duet of plasma and pressure, light and vibration. There is poetry in their elusiveness. The sounds are not mere byproducts, but messages, fragments of solar wind translated into terrestrial noise. They mirror the human experience of awe, ephemeral, personal, resistant to capture. Philosophers might ponder their metaphor, how the universe speaks in frequencies beyond our daily perception, and how listening, truly listening, requires both patience and surrender. Modern technology has mapped their origin, yet mystery lingers. Why do some storms sing while others stay silent? How do these discharges interact with the boreal forest's electromagnetic whispers? Each answered question births another, a fractal of curiosity. As the narrative slows, consider the aurora's duality. It is light that touches the eyes, and sound that brushes the soul, a reminder that wonder is not confined to a single sense. The same solar winds that threaten satellites also gift us these fleeting harmonies, a cosmic balance of chaos and beauty. In the end, the aurora's sounds are more than atmospheric phenomena. They are invitations to stand in the cold and the quiet, to merge the empirical with the ancestral, to remember that the universe is not silent, but alive. A reminder that even in the age of satellites, some truths are felt first in the heart, then measured by machines. So the next time the northern lights swirl, listen closely. Beneath their silent ballet, the air itself may hum, a fragile fleeting song from the edge of space, composed by the sun and delivered on solar winds. A song that asks nothing but our presence and rewards it with the oldest of gifts. The whale's spiral bubble nets. In the twilight depths of the ocean, where sunlight fades to blue, humpback whales perform a dance older than human memory. With a flick of a fin and a stream of breath, they conjure spirals of silver bubbles, ethereal, hypnotic, and precise. These are bubble nets, living sculptures of air and intention woven to harvest the sea's bounty, a testament to the marriage of intelligence and instinct, where collaboration becomes art. The ritual begins with a dive. A whale plunges beneath a school of fish, its powerful fluke steering it in a tightening circle. As it ascends, it exhales. Not a random burst, but a calculated release. Air spirals upward from its blowhole, forming a cylindrical curtain of bubbles. The whale may repeat this, swimming in ever smaller loops, the bubbles coalescing into a shimmering, ascending helix. Within this swirling tower, fish grow confused. To their eyes, the bubbles form an impassable wall, herding them into a dense, panicked mass. Then with a final surge, the whale rises mouth agape, engulfing its prey in a single fluid motion. This technique is not solitary. Pods coordinate with precision, some whales blowing bubbles while others vocalize, deep resonant calls that further disorient the fish. Researchers have identified regional dialects in these vocalizations, suggesting cultural knowledge passed through generations. History glimpsed this marvel only recently. Indigenous coastal peoples likely observed the bubbling waters, weaving tales of underwater spirits. Modern science unraveled it in the 1980s, aided by drones and bioacoustic tags. Yet mysteries linger. How do calves learn the precise angles and rhythms? Why do some whales add tail slaps or flipper flicks, personalizing their technique? The bubble net is more than a feeding strategy. It shapes ecosystems. By corralling fish near the surface, whales provide seabirds with opportunities. Their dives are dinner bell for terns and gulls. Their waste fertilizes phytoplankton, the foundation of marine food webs. In this way, the spiral becomes a keystone, a single behavior rippling through the ocean's tapestry. As the narrative stills, consider the duality of the net. It is both weapon and artwork, a symbol of life's interconnectedness. The same bubbles that trap fish also oxygenate the water, gifting breath to the sea. Philosophers might see here a lesson in balance, how creation and consumption, beauty and survival are threads of the same net. In the end, the whale's spiral is a mirror. It reflects nature's genius for turning simple elements, water, air, movement, into profound solutions. To witness it is to glimpse a world where intelligence is measured not in tools, but in harmony with the elements. And as the last bubbles rise, dissolving into light, we are reminded, the ocean's deepest wisdom often surfaces in fleeting silver spirals, a language of hunger and grace written in the oldest script on Earth.